it, folks?
Yes,
Yeah.
this is pretty awesome.
It is. Live from LA County Podcast. Here we are with another awesome episode of our, again, no longer is it an experiment. We're here to stay. You all have been listening. You all have been taking in the information that our wonderful leaders have been giving. So today, we aren't going to disappoint. We are here talking to Amy Bodek. Amy is our director of the Los Angeles County Regional Planning, and we are happy to have her today. She's one of our awesome department heads. She's one of my favorites, and I'll tell you why a little bit later. But Amy, I want to thank you for joining us.
Hello, Rodney.
Hey, Amy.
How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. How are you doing today?
Excellent.
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 Awesome.
So
awesome.
happy to be here in your cool new studio.
You see this, folks?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is pretty awesome.
It is. It is. And, you know, every department head that we've had in this seat, we kind of get the same reaction. Like, this is not typical of just county government.
Up in the game.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It really is the people that we're hiring, and it's the team that are bringing new ideas and trying to figure out. As you know, hiring is important to the county. And so we're doing everything we can to show folks that this is an awesome place to work.
It is, actually.
Through and through.
I agree with that, 100%.
So let me tell the audience a little bit about you. Don't blush. Don't blush.
Uh-oh.
But today, we're diving into the incredibly impactful world of regional planning, right? A lot of you may not recognize how impactful the work that this lady and her wonderful team does, but you should know, right? Because it's going to touch your lives one way or another. And we're going to talk about how decisions are made about the work that they do, what gets built, where, and by whom, and what it takes to plan for a county as dynamic, diverse, and as large as Los Angeles County. Now, our guest, Amy, is the director of this department, regional planning, and she oversees land use, zoning, sustainability, housing, and long-range visioning for the millions of residents living outside of city boundaries, the unincorporated areas that make up much of the fabric of Los Angeles County and Los Angeles itself.
Rodney, with that introduction, you could come work for me.
Nice, nice. I would. I know how efficient you are. So, Amy, you know, one of the first questions we ask is, what's your LA story? How did you end up here? What's your LA story?
My LA story is kind of embarrassing in a little way.
What?
In that first of all, I am not native to California. Although, you know, so many folks aren't. I'm actually a transplant from the East Coast. And after graduate school, I was unable to get a job because there was a mini recession going on in the early 90s. And I had some options. And one of those options was for the city of Long Beach. Okay. And I couldn't imagine moving to California. Not because of the California dream, but specifically because I had a really negative connotation for what LA was. It represented, as a professional planner, sprawl and just identical homes and no character. And growing up on the East Coast, you know, I'm a history buff. And so I was used to history being, you know, 300 years old before the country was even formed. And here I was, you know, contemplating a move to California. But I did it.
Yes.
I took the job. It was a 1-year management internship position for the city of Long Beach. And here I am many days later, let's just say. Many days later, married, kids, have a home. California's my house. Now. That's my LA story.
LA story.
Yeah.
This is it. And Long Beach, for those of you, we're not talking East Coast Long Beach. We're talking right here in LA County.
Yes.
LA County, Long Beach.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so you ultimately did it, right? There was a bit of a recession. You had this opportunity to work for government and become a public servant.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
What had you worked private sector? Have you always worked public since you got the job at Long Beach?
Public or nonprofit. So I had a couple of internships during my time in graduate school. I was in New York City,
Yes.
doing graduate school in New York City, and one of my jobs was for the New York City Department of City Planning. And then another job was actually for a nonprofit land use organization that was fighting a large developer on the Upper West Side, and he's currently our president.
Ooh,
And so, yeah.
And you
yeah.
worked for the nonprofit.
I worked
that
for
was
the
trying to preserve-
nonprofit that was trying to preserve, appropriate land uses
Wow.
on the Upper West Side.
Exciting.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yeah.
So before we get too deep into regional planning, the work that you all do, how you do it, how you serve the LA County and its residents, I want to talk about you for a moment, right? Talk to us.
Good luck with that.
Well, the one thing about this podcast has been we've gotten to know our department heads just in a little bit different way, right?
Yeah.
Because we know that there are real people doing these important jobs. And so my first question for you is, tell us something that people would be surprised to know. Maybe it's something that you enjoy doing after work. Maybe it's something that you enjoy doing in your free time. What is that?
Gosh. Well, you know now that I'm a history buff.
Yes.
I have been on an adventure where I am reading every presidential biography in order, and have been doing that for a few years.
Okay.
And so sometimes I do take a detour. I wasn't satisfied with a Jefferson biography, for example, and so I had to explore that a little bit more because it didn't address some issues that I really, really wanted to learn about. And so I read, 4 Jefferson books before I felt that I could move on to the next one.
Yeah.
And that's been about a 5-year endeavor that I've been doing. So that's a little quirk of Amy. That most people probably don't know.
It's interesting. You talked about the East Coast and you talked about 300 years. I was at a dinner last night, and someone had gone to Turkey, and they were talking about the history of Turkey and the fact that you're talking about everything is 3,000 years old, right?
Yes.
And it's just this crazy perspective of kind of like history, ancient history versus U.S. history and where we kind of
and California history
and California
right?
history, which is a baby in comparison to most of the world, right? So let me ask you though. You started talking about Long Beach, and you talked about. I think it's interesting that you took an internship for the city of Long Beach. Talk to us about what that internship was and how it actually helped you get a better understanding of your field, where you ultimately would end up.
Right.
Talk to us about that one opportunity.
It's a fabulous program. It's a management assistant program, and it still runs. And there's a whole alumni club related to it, and the current city manager of the city of Long Beach was actually a management assistant, in a few years after I was. So lots of different folks that come in with either a public administration idea or a planning degree that's what they wanted to pursue. And it's an opportunity to explore without really committing to public service, but it's also an opportunity to broaden you. So you get to learn about finance, and you get to learn about the public participation process, even if your focus is health, public health equity. You're going to learn about how the city handles trash pickup as part of that effort, and it really does provide a very well-rounded perspective. And I think that has really translated for me, because I do say that a city is made up of people and the people's contributions. right? So everyone who drives or takes a bus or walks down the city street has something to say about transportation. Everyone who needs to take a kid to the library because they don't have a book or it's a requirement that the kid goes to the library and participates needs to understand that. The librarian who works in that library is actually part of building a city. And so I've always had that perspective that everyone is a city builder, whether they know it or not, just because they participate and live in a city. And the internship at Long Beach kind of mimicked that because I did get to see all the various aspects of what it takes to actually manage a city.
Yeah. That's a different perspective that I've not quite heard said that way, right? Like that we all play a part.
We all do.
That we all are doing the work that you just are lucky enough to be responsible for. At what point, and maybe it was when you were young, at what point did you go, planning's for me? Planning is where I think I will do best. When did that happen? At what point did it click for you?
We used to camp when I was younger. I'm the youngest of four, and we would get, shoved into the station wagon with the dog and the trailer in the back and the bikes and all that other stuff. And however long my dad had off for vacation is we would go camping. And some of the camping trips were, all summer long. And I spent, there were no iPods, iPads, you were lucky if there was an AM radio station.
Yes.
So I used to listen to my dad on the CB radio as we were traveling to various places and talking to different folks. And I would be out staring out the window and looking at the landscape and the country and the patterns that make up our country. And I have always been interested in that. I am always the one that wants the window seat on the airplane.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So at some point, you have been, I'm assuming, you've had some awesome leaders that you've worked with who have helped you understand even better the little girl understand better what she was seeing out the window and how it all operates and how it all works.
Yes.
Talk to me about some of those leaders that you've grown up with as you've become a leader yourself. And what was it about that they were sharing with you that helped convince you that, okay, this is it?
They were sharing their knowledge, right?
Yes.
I love learning and understanding what people do. And so I have had so many mentors, not only folks who I worked for, but even consultants who were assigned to do projects with the city. And maybe I didn't realize, exactly what they would do. And so I would almost interview them on how do you do this? Can you show me how to do this? So I had, people teach me how to read a legal description for a piece of property and then actually draw it out on a map, before CAD and before computers. But I think the biggest thing was taking me with them and just, letting me observe how they handled pressure, how they handled seemingly intractable problems, and just letting me be a fly on the wall.
Wow.
And so I've had incredible opportunities to do both. And to me, it's just listening and learning from others that came before me.
Those lessons, now you're a leader. What's your leadership philosophy in one sentence?
I am not a leader of one.
Talk to me.
Really. I really need input before I make a decision. I'll make a decision really, really fast.
Yes.
Because I've been watching and listening and gathering pieces of information for weeks before it appears that I've made a decision.
Okay.
And then when a time comes to make the decision, I'll be ready to make it.
Yes.
I think I was called appropriately by a mentor, a reluctant leader, early in my career,
Okay.
where and that has really rang true for me over the years. I am much more comfortable behind the camera than in front of the camera, but to me, I am someone who can tell you the facts and tell you the truth. And if that's part of a leadership quality that is needed, then I can serve that role.
Got it.
If I'm supposed to be the leader that gives incredibly inspiring speeches, I'm not that person. And that's what I look for in a leader. I actually look towards someone who can inspire me, and I don't actually feel that I am necessarily that type of person who can inspire people by words. I feel that I can inspire people by actions instead. And so that's my answer.
I hear you, Amy. I hear you. Look, folks, I'm gonna disagree just a little bit, right? Because I've had the pleasure of working with several of our employees have left our department to go work for you, right? And you know, the county is a close-knit community, although we have over 100,000 positions and people. The reality is it is more than how you lead. I think it's how you talk to people and what they gain from, like what they get from you when you talk to them. You don't have to be the rah-rah, right? The big cheerleader, but you instill in people this sense of they can do it and they're watching you. And I got to tell you, a lot of people have talked to me about wanting to work for you, how efficient you are as a worker, right? As someone who works, how efficient you are. And so thank you. Thank you for everything that you're doing, right?
It does come down to everyone is their own person, and I want to know who they are.
Yes.
And I do think it's important that in our work, if I'm going to ask someone to do something, I need to know who they are.
Yes.
I need to know their name, right? I will say when I came to the county, it was a little bit more formal, than it is now. And I've only been with the county 7.5 years.
Okay.
I was the first female director. I guess I still am. I am
Yes.
the first
Yes.
female director. And so staff did not know how to address me. And I was taken aback because I said, well, I'm Amy. I'm not Madam Director. I'm not Director Bodek. I'm not Madam Amy. I'm, whatever combination, because all of the other directors prior to me had titles that were common, and the environment at the time was much more formal. I don't work in that environment when I'm working with staff. I am Amy, and I want to know that you're Rodney,
The work that you all do, there's this natural tension, political tension, right? There is regulatory tension, technical tension, in making decisions regarding how people live, where they live, space requirements,
Right.
all of that. How do you navigate all of that? Now, I know this is an important discipline. It's been studied.
Right.
But talk to me about the tensions here in Los Angeles County and how you've been navigating it.
That great sprawl that
that you wanted to
that
avoid.
I wanted to avoid,
Right.
and now I'm part of it.
Yes.
So I can't tell you how much I appreciate the incredible diversity of communities in the county, from rural to urban, from desert to Catalina Island, right? So everything in between. The geographic diversity, the diversity of people and cultures, and then the diversity of the environment, really. And so for me, there's a system. I view planning as a system, and everybody has a role, like I said. Political people have a role because they set the overarching policies and guidance based on what's needed by the constituents. Advocates play a role in pushing government to do more, to do better. We have to find that sweet spot. And so we are always constantly negotiating or trying to find that balance, that sweet spot in what we're doing, so that not that there's winners and losers, because that's not what we're trying to achieve, but that the goals of the policy are being met in the best way possible for the most individuals or the most constituents. Do we get it wrong sometimes? Absolutely. You know, in the history of this country, we have definitely gotten it wrong. Yeah. And land use has legitimately played a role in racism, in structural racism. And I am proud to be able to speak the truth of that. I am ashamed of it, but I'm not ashamed to acknowledge that it occurred, right? And that is clearly evident in land use policy. And how do we, in this day and age, figure out how to reverse that trend and make amends and fix the mistakes that we all made in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, and even the 60s? Yeah. And we've been a part of it. So I really do believe that it is our responsibility as individuals and then as the planning department for the unincorporated communities of LA County to address those injustices, wherever they are.
How are you? I mean, you raise a really good point, right? For a department that existed over 100 years now, you had to be part of your department, not you, but your department has been part of regulations,
Absolutely.
The issues that in really separating and dividing people. Yeah. Now, just as you said, you are tackling it, and you are doing things to change that. Talk to us about what are you doing to address that?
Sure. So as we came up on our 100th anniversary a few years ago of the Regional Planning Commission, the oldest planning commission in the entire country.
Country?
Yes.
Okay.
So, oldest.
And we're only 100.
And we're only 100 years old, right? Oldest planning commission in the country. We even predate the city of LA by like a smidge. So yeah, they were the great planners of the industry in the 1920s when Hollywood was just starting to boom, when the oil industry was also just starting to boom, when Southern California was this seaside mecca, and the Regional Planning Commission was staffed by, a bunch of engineers who wanted to systematically control growth. And so the Regional Planning Commission was responsible for a master plan of highways that still is evident today.
Very much so.
Master plan of airports, a master plan of the waterfront, all these grandiose visions that obviously changed, over the decades, but had a fascinating start. And in the 1920s, there were very few cities that actually existed. Clearly, the city of Los Angeles existed. We actually master planned some of the communities that today are their own cities. Like the city of Lakewood, we helped master plan that. Our master plans from the county ended up becoming cities today. But what we've done in that recognition of, okay, your 100th anniversary is coming up, what are you going to do about it? We really did dig into the history because, we've got folks who love history as well, not just me, but we've got historians and architects and landscape architects and planners, all in our department. And part of it was a reckoning, because I wanted to celebrate it but not sugarcoat it, particularly because the murder of George Floyd happened right around that same time.
Yeah.
And there was clearly, as you know, a reckoning within the county and a reckoning within planning of a confluence of discussions. And so we decided to publish a booklet of our anniversary, but not celebrate it necessarily as an accomplishment, but here's where we've gone through the decades. But in this time and place that we're in now, how do we address the inequities that we also unintentionally, I'm hoping it was unintentional, unintentionally put into place or intentionally magnified? Because as we know, the federal government was hugely responsible for a lot of the redlining that occurred. So we ended up doing a strategic plan for the department that has equity embedded into it. And it was staff driven. We had committees of staff saying, here's what we think we should fix. Here's what we think we should focus on. That included our hiring procedures, our promotional procedures. It included how we engage with our communities. Not everyone speaks English in our communities, and how do we make sure that we're providing services to those in need?
What is, first of all, thank you. I'm sure our audience is thinking the same thing. We're talking someone who's only been in the job 7 years, right? And in 7 years, you've recognized this and you're bringing this change to the organization. Tell me, is there a myth or misconception about regional planning that you would want to change or at least inform people of or talk about?
I would say first, I didn't bring the change. The change was ready to be made. Just needed a little push. My staff is incredible. The discussion of equity was not something new to them. The discussion of diversity was not new to them. It just needed a form that everyone could embrace and follow. I think that the general public definitely doesn't understand what we do. My own parents were always like, "What's your job again?" Not quite understanding what you do, and that's okay, right? But at the end of the day, we need to be able to have conversations with individuals that we're serving without using technical language, and we need to work together to understand the needs of the community. I think one of the misconceptions is that we don't care about the communities we serve, or that the outcome is already evident and planned, right? We know where we're going to go, et cetera, et cetera. To a certain extent, there's a little bit of truth to that, because in this day and age, there's a lot of local control that has been stripped away by the state and state legislature. So we know that we are going to have to increase zoning and increase density in somebody's neighborhood.
Yes.
We just don't know what neighborhood. And so there is a foregone conclusion that we do have to comply with state regulations, but how we do it has not been a foregone conclusion. And I think that there's a misconception that we've got the library full of secret plans that we're going to pull off the counter and just submit, when in actuality, my staff cares deeply about community engagement and listening, and are just as frustrated as our communities when we can't come to consensus or agreement.
Got it. There's someone listening that I'm sure what you are saying, it's resonating with me, and I'm certain there are people who are listening to you and it's resonating, right? A lot of the folks that we've been hiring have told us that they are looking for mission-driven work. And what you've talked about is a mission, a vision, a strategic plan where you're trying to head a direction and your whole team is on board, played a role in it. Talk to me or talk to them about some of your key roles and how do you become a planner? How does someone who might be interested in this work, is it an advanced degree? Is it, what kind of entry level opportunities are there for to do this work? Can you talk to our audience about that?
Absolutely. So you can get into the planning field from any other field at all. And that's the beauty of planning, is we are not like, another field where you have to go to a four-year college and you have to have a professional license. We have folks who are focused on geographic information systems and mapping, and they have a degree in geography. We have folks who are landscape architects, like I said. We have accountants in our department who have actually, I'm proud to say, promoted out of the department to another department and have chosen to come back to our department because they like our vibe. So you can be an architect, you could be a landscape architect, you can be someone who just wants to focus on community engagement. You don't need a four-year degree. We are actually developing a new classification where you can have a 2-year college degree and start working with us from a planning perspective and get your planning experiences and decide if you want this to be your career or not. We do have, a majority of our folks do have 4-year degrees, and a lot of folks have master's degrees. But we realized that that in itself was inequitable, and that we're changing our hiring so that we can reach more folks who come from the neighborhoods that they want to serve. And so I think that's the answer from a hiring perspective, is break down those barriers. And if you want to have an internship with us, come on in. We had so many folks after the January fires who wanted to have internships with us. We have so many folks doing internships, even if they're 3-week-long stints. Come on in. We will definitely find something for you to do.
Wow. For folks who might be interested in hearing more about that, is it on your website, how to go about applying for an internship?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
We're going to have to put it on our website.
Our crack team will find it.
Yes.
And we'll certainly, if it's not there, we'll put some information in our in the comments.
Please, yes.
Awesome.
And certainly planning.lacounty.gov. Click on the picture of me and you can get an email to me and we can set you up.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Planning.lacounty.gov. All right. So let's get into a little bit about innovations, right? So, we know that there are certain innovations that have taken place, let's say over the last 15, 20, 25 years. And the team pointed out this geographic information systems, data analytics, remote sensing, drones, AI. These are all new things. And how is planning taking some of these new innovations and working with them to improve or make more efficient the work that you all do?
Absolutely. I'm going to tell you a drone story because I'm going to drone on about a drone story.
Let's go.
So this incredible manager who had been there for a long time and was very interested in drones as a personal hobby and realized that there was direct transferability to our needs. We go on to folks' properties and we do inspections, and some of the properties are massive.
Yes.
Think in the Antelope Valley, you've got 20 acres. You're trying to see if they're doing something in, the back 9, and you could be there for hours, if not days, looking for what you're trying to look for. And why not use the technology of drones? And so the manager asked if I would support, a small, very small amount of money to sample and do a pilot project for drones. And I said yes. And he bought a drone. And we went through the process of working with county council to figure out how to be insured and our liability. And so we then expanded the drone program through a grant from the Quality and Productivity Commission. And we ended up with, I think, probably 20 certified drone pilots. We have a fleet of drones that we use. We use them for inspections, but we also use them to celebrate, projects that are moving forward. We do a video of the drone, an aerial of the drone program, and then present it to Planning Commission or the board. And then we've also used them in disasters. So we early on were asked to fly some property that was a county park up in the Antelope Valley, very hard to get to, right after a devastating fire. And we were able to fly it in a day and show the damage without creating safety hazards for individuals.
Got it.
Super easy way
Right.
to take an existing technology and figure out how to utilize it for the better.
Yeah.
And now there are other departments that have these drone programs.
And this is a program that started under your watch.
The idea was perculating there.
Okay.
I just said, sure, have some dollars.
Go ahead and buy it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But, that is still the right leader,
Yeah.
right place, right time, right idea coming to you.
Yes.
Right? And you being able to
Yeah.
say, I love the idea. Let's move forward with it.
I'm a big fan of pilot programs.
Yeah.
Figure out if it works, and if it doesn't, you didn't invest a lot of infrastructure
For sure.
in seeing if it works.
Yeah.
And if
yeah.
it doesn't work, fix it and try again.
Earlier, you talked about some of the work that you've been doing with impact with in communities, but I'm interested in how have you been working inside with communities. I recall from a meeting or discussion that I may have had from someone with your department that they talked about listening sessions. They talked about giving the community voice. How are you doing that to ensure that that this perception, when we talked about it earlier, that decisions are already made,
Right.
already being made, is not the case, but
Right.
that folks in the community are getting an opportunity to share. What do you believe?
Yeah.
How do you believe we should act?
Yeah.
Or what you believe we should do? What are you doing?
We need to embed our staff in the communities better. And there are certain staff that are really, really skilled at that, who have established long-term relationships with community groups and community members. And they are really the impetus for expanding that more. And so if a community group says, Amy, would you come tour our community and see it through our eyes? I am absolutely going to say yes.
Nice.
And so I have been, in a van in the middle of nowhere. I've been on a ferry to Catalina Island. I've been doing walk and talks in, in the middle of LA Basin. If someone wants a tour and they want to give it to us, I'll spend an afternoon with you.
Okay.
The challenge is, it's not going to happen tomorrow because, my calendar is a little impacted, but I love to get out in the field. It is so valuable for me, and I want my staff to spend as much time as possible having those same experiences.
Approximately how large is your department?
We have about 220 staff.
Got it.
We're actually small compared to others in the county.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But responsible for oh so much. Talk to me about your vision. You're 7 years in. I think the entire county kind of finds itself in an interesting time.
Yes.
Between technology, between the political issues. What's your vision? Like, where are you going? What are some of the ideas? And I'm sure it's probably in your strategic plan.
Yeah.
So talk to us about some of
So
that.
I did talk a little bit about reversing some of the errors that we, not as individuals, but we as an agency, we're legitimately responsible for. And that vision is rock solid. Regardless of where we are in this time and place, that vision is rock solid.
Okay.
Everyone needs to have an equal voice.
Yes.
And my vision is that there is room for everyone's voices to be heard and absorbed, and that they can thrive. Our biggest issue is lack of affordable housing, and affordable housing means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. And even within that realm, there's arguments about exactly what affordable housing means. And I want every neighborhood to be proud to have a mix of housing in their neighborhoods. And I don't know if that's achievable. But that's a huge issue that I have carried with me for a number of years. But as a department, I really do believe that you have to have fun at work. And so I am known to be not quite so serious at work, but when I do turn serious, everybody knows that it's time to get to work. And so I want people to feel trusted and valued with their work that they do and respected by the communities that they serve.
Got it. You talked about housing, and this will be our last question before we get into our lightning round. Just you talked about housing, and I know how important homelessness issue is in LA County, the housing issue is in LA County, and all of the work that our wonderful board is trying to do to alleviate homelessness by creating a brand new department, right? Despite our budgetary constraints, they recognize that if we don't make this investment now, it may take generations before we actually handle it, right? So what is your department doing as it relates to housing, homelessness? What are some of the focuses, and what's the issue that you all are trying to address?
So the issue of the day is not just how to house the unhoused today. We're involved in that as, by removing barriers to shelters, right? So everywhere now can absorb a shelter, which was very, very different from 20 years ago when, cities did not want shelters. Now everybody is responsible for shelters. We also are heavily involved in writing a lot of the policy that the board has directed. But our policy is more along the lines of creating areas for permanent affordable housing. And so we don't get involved in the day-to-day homelessness issues that the new department does and will be involved in. We're looking ahead because we're planners.
Yes.
We're always looking ahead to what happens when you are stabilized and you now need a permanent unit. Where will those permanent units be? And once we find a permanent unit, will there be neighborhood amenities? Will there be parks? Will there be easy access to those neighborhoods? So we're heavily involved in that, definitely behind the scenes.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. All right. So that was the hard part, and you did
my
great.
goodness.
You did. No, I think you really have educated me and educated our audience on what your department does and how you're thinking about this area, this field, right? And I know that there's some folks out there who the new program that you're developing on how you can actually do some of this wonderful work,
Absolutely.
and how you could potentially start to work in this department. A lot of departments haven't had that. Right?
Yeah.
And you've created a program to create your own pipeline. Beautiful.
We definitely have a need for that. And if there is a want and a desire, we're going to find a way to find you if you don't find us first.
Nice. So let's get into our lightning round.
All right.
Right. Now, I know, folks, we went a little long. We certainly learned a lot, but it's worth it. So let's talk our lightning round. I'm going to ask you some very quick questions. You tell me the first thing that comes to mind. And first thing is, what's your superpower?
Stuck like glue.
Okay, explain.
I don't know. I don't know. My kids are going to be so mad at me.
Okay.
Because they
Tell
always
the kids.
they always talk about their special superpowers and what they want. I guess you know what? I know.
Oh, okay.
Invisible man. I want to be invisible.
Why?
So I can sneak around, hear what people are saying, come back, develop amazing plans that everybody would support, and get it through.
Got it.
With no controversy.
No controversy. That kind of speaks to the what you talked about when we were talking about leadership. That you are listening when people don't think you're listening. You were listening 3 weeks earlier and then making a decision 3 weeks later.
See, I'm all right. I'm going to switch that to invisible person. Right.
Understood.
Invisible person.
Understood. Favorite food?
Pizza.
What motivates you?
Being outside.
Give me a fear. Something you're fearful of.
Spiders?
Okay. All right. Dream job if you didn't have your current position.
Dream job would be to start from scratch and design a city.
Passion or hobby that keeps you grounded?
Anything to do with outside. Gardening, hiking, being active, reading.
What are you thankful for?
Everything. Every day, I am grateful for the opportunity to be here, to still be in LA, to have found a place where I can thrive and help others thrive, and incredibly grateful for my husband and my family.
I think I know this answer. Maybe. Past or present, who's been your biggest hype person?
Oh, my husband.
Okay, all right.
Definitely.
Why? Like how? How is he hyping you up?
He believes in me more than I believe in myself.
Oh, I love it.
In all legitimacy.
Oh,
Even back
beautiful.
early on, you
Yeah.
know, he believed in me when I was just a goofball.
Yeah. Hey, we all need that in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
We all need that in our lives. Favorite activity to do in LA?
Go out to eat.
Okay.
There are so many places to go out to eat in LA, and just neighborhoods galore.
Okay. I would ask you for some, one of your haunts, but I don't want to make anyone jealous. So
no favorites.
And yeah, there you go. When was the last time you tried something new for the first time?
New for the first time. A few months ago, we traveled to Turkey and went to Istanbul and had a lot of new food.
Yes.
And experienced a lot of new things.
Okay. Did you do a hot air balloon and all that?
No.
Okay. All right.
No.
If you could have dinner with anyone in the world, past or present, who would it be? For the historian in you.
Yeah. I don't know. There's too many. My first thought was President Obama.
Okay.
But I don't know.
All right.
Probably John Adams, because he was from Massachusetts, where I grew up. And he was a cranky old man who was incredibly prolific writer. And I got to know a lot about him through his biographies, but also Jefferson's biographies, because they were great enemies.
Yeah.
So John Adams, maybe.
You talk about biography. My last lightning round question is, what would be the title of your biography?
Time to go home.
All right. With that was my last lightning round. That wasn't so hard, right?
That was
That
great.
was not so
It
bad.
was. I
right?
think the lightning round is harder.
Oh, yeah, you got to think quick around here, right? So I have a few just closing questions. And this really is to kind of close out the great conversation that we had. And I want to thank you, honestly, for being with us today. What does working for the county mean to you?
I was so glad to be able to come to the county. Working for the county for me means getting the chance to really make a difference for all of the 125 communities that our department serves. And understanding the breadth of diversity and opinions and needs of our residents and our businesses has just been a joy for me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So this question we've kind of added because we've seen some value in having our departments look in their camera, that camera right there, and talk to your wonderful employees about how thankful you are for what they do and how they feed into you, and the work that they've been able to provide our wonderful county public.
As my department knows, I call us the small but mighty department, and I believe that we are the best department in the entire county. And it has been my privilege to learn from so many of you. I learn every day from my own staff, and I think that is truly a blessing. What I say to you is it has been quite a year. As many of you have been on the front line of dealing with the disasters, and I can't be more proud of all of you standing up and doing what you needed to do to help our residents and putting your own concerns aside to help our residents in need. That to me is a demonstration of your personal integrity and your own leadership and willingness to participate in this great experiment that we call LA County. So thank you.
Amy, I couldn't have said it better. I'm sure your folks are sitting around watching this and going, "That's my boss. That's my boss." And look, folks, today, that's a wrap as it relates to our conversation with Amy Bodek. And what a ride! What a journey! I mean, man, you are reading all of the biographies. Probably going to take you another year or so to finish, right?
Yeah, I just finished Nixon.
Okay.
So,
you are close.
Yeah, I'm close.
You are close.
I'm definitely close.
And I hope, folks, that you all are walking away today with a deeper understanding of regional planning.
Yes.
What it takes to shape our communities that we are all living in. How you all are actually playing a role, even if you didn't recognize it, in the work that this department does and what regional planning is for all of us. And if you enjoyed this episode, we really ask you to share this information with folks that you know. Share with them the opportunities that regional planning has for them to get involved if this is their bent. And of course, I want to give a big thank you to Amy for joining us today, and appreciate you. And until next time, thank you for joining live from LA County Podcast.